But apparently, while I was gone, some horrifying things happened. The deadly, tragic shooting of National Guard members in D.C. claimed the life of Sarah Beckstrom and left Andrew Wolf in critical condition. And our hearts go out to everyone impacted by this.
Absolutely.
We are praying for Andrew's quick recovery. And, you know, we're going to be talking more about this in days to come, but we didn't want the day to pass us without acknowledging this. Then you have Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. He's taken a lot of heat over a report that he had an order to kill everyone on board a Venezuelan boat of alleged drug traffickers, which led to a second strike that killed the 2 survivors. He boasted about these strikes several times on social media, but denies the report and insists everything was done lawfully. Now, officials on both sides of the aisle, they're not so sure about all that. Take a look.
We should get to the truth. I don't think he would be foolish enough to make this decision to say, kill everybody, kill the survivors, because that's a clear violation of the law of war.
If that occurred, that would be very serious, and I agree that would be an illegal act. This is completely outside of anything that has been discussed with Congress, and there is an ongoing investigation.
We're going to have a public hearing. We're going to put these folks under oath, and we're going to find out what happened, and then there needs to be accountability.
This rises to the level of a war crime if it's true.
Can you talk a little bit about the strikes and the controversy around Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth?
I don't know anything about it. He said he did not say that, and I believe him 100%.
So you don't know if there was
You're talking about the 2 men?
The second strike to kill the 2 men.
No, he said he didn't do it. He said he never said
Would you be okay with that if he did?
He said he didn't do it, so I don't have to make that decision.
So the report claims Hegseth specifically gave the order to kill them all. Is this why Congress is motivated to do its job with some oversight? Is this a bridge too far? Is this the thing that's going to make everyone come together and say, okay, enough is enough?
Well, I know this is why those Democratic vets put out that video last week that people said, why would they need to say what's already obvious, that, you know, military personnel, they don't need to, they can refuse to act on an illegal order. And people were like, yeah, but there's nothing like that. Well, this is a situation where there were clearly in the cameras 2 men on like parts of the explosion, and then they're killed. So the likelihood of this is it's not a war. We're not at war with Venezuela, but it's murder. It's flat out murder. And anyone that acted on those orders could be held on war crimes. Am I?
And the most ironic thing about this is, so he's doing all of this against Venezuela. And let me just be clear, Nicolás Maduro in Venezuela is a horrible, cruel, corrupt dictator. The day he leaves, whether it is to a hellhole somewhere or if he dies and goes to hell, I will be very happy. But I think America needs to ask themselves, do we want to perpetrate regime change in the region? Donald Trump is trying to convince Americans that this is about fighting drugs, and this is because Maduro released crazy people, opened up the jails and the insane asylums and sent people here. That second part is flat out lies. There is no evidence of that. On the drug aspect, very little of the drugs that go through Venezuela actually come to the United States. That is not the preferred path for drug dealers. The preferred path actually goes through the Pacific coast, through Central America. And you know what Trump did this weekend? He announced he was going to pardon the former Honduran president, Juan Orlando Hernandez, who actually is in U.S. prison right now with a 45-year sentence for having flooded the streets of the United States with cocaine for decades and decades. This was a case that was investigated. The lead investigator in this was Trump's lawyer, the guy he's got like second in command at DOJ, Emil Bove. This is a guy, this Juan Hernandez, who boasted about, I'm going to get the gringos, I'm going to stuff cocaine up the gringos' nose. He got allegedly, or it was shown through the prosecution, $1 million bribe from El Chapo, one of the worst drug traffickers in history, in order to allow the drugs to go through to Mexico. So you can't, on the one hand, be portraying yourself as the fighter of drugs, and we're going to go to war against Maduro and against Venezuela because they are flooding us with drugs, which they're not. And on the other hand, pardon the guy who actually did flood us with drugs.
Well, and I think that's the thing. That's why you know it's a subterfuge. That's why you know that it's just not true, because a lot of the Venezuelan drugs, and there is drug trafficking there, a lot of it also ends up in Europe. It does not end up in the United States. A lot of the fentanyl, which everyone is very concerned about, comes from Mexico. So the fact that they are dropping bombs in international waters outside of Venezuela and closing Venezuelan airspace seems to me to be some sort of subterfuge for something else. Now, without, speculation, I can't speak to the law of it. I don't know, I'm not a geopolitical expert, but in terms of the law of it, you're right, Sarah. That is why those Army vets explained, do not follow, you do not have to follow illegal orders. You know why? Because if this is deemed to have been war crimes, which by all accounts right now, there are 7 sources that said Pete Hegseth did say kill them all, even after there were 2 survivors, which you're supposed to do under international law. You are supposed to take those fighters as war criminals, prisoners of war, and you're supposed to give them refuge, and you're supposed to take care of them, and then you are supposed to put them into a court of law. Instead, they killed them. That means the person who gave the order can be held accountable and put in prison. And that means the person that conducted, the people that conducted the orders, that pulled the trigger, are also responsible and can be held accountable. So now you have people that are serving their countries, that are serving this country as patriots, perhaps following an illegal order, and then themselves can be court-martialed. Well, imagine that.
What he's done is he set them up.
Yes.
He has set them up.
If it's true, yes.
Listen, this is not the first time it's happened. This is like the 5th or 6th or 7th time. Yeah. I mean, at some point, somebody's responsible, and the buck stops there.
Yes, it does.
It's many more times than that. It's been happening since September. They have killed upwards of 80 people, and I think it's been
22 boats.
22 boats.
In the Venezuelan waters.
So this is not new, but he's setting our people up, and it's not pretty.